Welcome to Meet Patel Audiobooks. If you enjoyed, consider subscribing. Let's begin.
Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 16, The Deal That Shocked Everyone. Meet Patel audio book. The massive Blackwood Group meeting room remained silent after Victor Blackwood finished speaking. Every executive seated around the long marble table stared toward Damien Cole with doubtful expressions. A university student, participating in one of Blackwood Group's most important investment meetings. To them, it sounded ridiculous. One senior executive adjusted his glasses coldly. "Chairman Blackwood," he said carefully, "with all respect, why should we trust someone with no business experience?" Several others nodded immediately. The atmosphere became tense. Damien quietly observed everyone in the room. Most of them clearly viewed him as an outsider. Victor Blackwood calmly leaned back in his chair. "Because," he replied simply, "he sees opportunities faster than all of you." The room instantly fell silent again. No one dared openly challenge Victor after that statement. But the doubt in their eyes remained. Then suddenly, ding! The blue holographic system screen appeared before Damien. Special mission activated. Earn recognition from Blackwood executives. Reward: Elite Investor Authority. Damien's eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting. Victor slowly pushed several financial documents across the table. "These are reports for the coastal resort project," he explained calmly. "Most investors believe it's too risky." Damien opened the files quietly. But before he could even read everything, the system activated automatically. Luxury Market Insight activated. Analysis complete. Critical information detected. Competitor company secretly buying nearby land. Damien's heartbeat accelerated slightly. So that was the hidden truth. Someone already knew the coastline's future value. Damien slowly looked up toward the executives. "You're all focusing on the wrong thing," he said calmly. Several businessmen frowned immediately. Damien continued confidently. "The resort itself isn't the biggest opportunity." Silence filled the room. Victor Blackwood watched him carefully. Damien placed one document onto the table. "The real profit comes from the surrounding coastline." A few executives exchanged confused looks. Then Damien dropped the final sentence, "Because another corporation is already secretly purchasing nearby land." The entire room froze. What? That's impossible. How would he know that? Even Victor Blackwood's sharp eyes changed slightly for the first time tonight. Because Damien's statement was completely correct. And suddenly, nobody in the room looked at Damien Cole like a poor student anymore. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 17, The Enemy Behind the Shadows. Meet Patel audio book. The Blackwood Group meeting room remained completely silent. Every executive stared at Damien Cole with shocked expressions after hearing his analysis. Another corporation was secretly purchasing land near the coastal resort. That information alone could completely change the future value of the entire project. One executive immediately stood up. "Chairman Blackwood," he said seriously, "we investigated this area for weeks. We found nothing." Victor Blackwood slowly turned toward Damien. "And yet," he said calmly, "he discovered it in minutes." The atmosphere instantly became heavier. For the first time since entering the room, Damien had everyone's attention. Ding. Mission progress updated. Blackwood executive recognition, 45%. Damien remained calm while the executives quickly reviewed the documents again. Then suddenly, one younger manager spoke nervously. "Chairman, there actually were unusual land purchases reported recently." The room froze. Another executive immediately grabbed the report. "It's true," he muttered. "Several shell companies bought coastal properties last month." Victor's sharp eyes narrowed slightly. Someone was moving secretly behind the scenes. And they were moving fast. Damien quietly observed everything. But inside, his thoughts were focused on something else. The system. Because moments earlier, another hidden notification had appeared. Hidden rival detected. Warning, powerful opponent entering story. Damien's heartbeat slowed slightly. A rival. Before he could think further, Victor Blackwood suddenly spoke again. Can you identify who's behind these purchases? Every executive immediately looked toward Damien. The pressure inside the room became enormous. But Damien calmly lowered his eyes toward the files again. Ding! Luxury market insight activated. Tracing purchase patterns. Several glowing blue lines moved rapidly across Damien's vision. Then. Result found. Corporation identified, Vortex Global Holdings. Chairman, Alexander Kane. Damien's eyes narrowed instantly. Alexander Kane. Even the system warning carried danger around that name. Victor noticed Damien's expression immediately. You found something. Damien slowly looked up. Yes. The room became silent again. Damien calmly placed the final document onto the table. The company behind the land purchases. He paused slightly. Is Vortex Global Holdings. Several executives instantly changed expressions. One of them even cursed quietly. Victor Blackwood's face darkened for the first time tonight. Because everyone in Eldoria knew one thing. Alexander Kane was one of the most ruthless businessmen in the entire country. And now. Damien Cole had unknowingly stepped into a war between billionaires. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 18, Alexander Kane. Meet Patel audio book. The atmosphere inside the Blackwood Group meeting room became dangerously heavy after Damien revealed the name. Vortex Global Holdings. Alexander Kane. Even the senior executives looked visibly uncomfortable hearing it. One man slowly removed his glasses and sighed deeply. If Kane is involved, he muttered, then this project is no longer simple business. Victor Blackwood remained silent for several seconds. But the coldness in his eyes intensified. Damien quietly observed everyone around the table. This was the first time he truly understood how powerful Alexander Kane must be. Then suddenly. Ding! New main story mission activated. Compete against Vortex Global Holdings. Mission reward, Billionaire influence expansion. Damien's heartbeat accelerated slightly. The system was officially pushing him into a battle against one of the richest men in Eldoria. Victor finally spoke. Alexander Kane never invests without a reason, he said calmly. If he's secretly buying coastal land, then he already knows the government development plan. Several executives frowned immediately. That means we're already late. No, Damien suddenly interrupted. Everyone turned toward him. Damien's expression remained calm. We're not late yet. The room fell silent again. Damien pointed toward the map spread across the table. Vortex Global only purchased land near the northern coastline, he explained. But the southern side still remains untouched. Victor's eyes sharpened instantly. He understood immediately. The southern coastline would soon rise in value too. And nobody had claimed it yet. One executive quickly stood up in shock. If we move now, we can still control half the region, Victor finished calmly. For the first time tonight. Several executives looked at Damien with genuine respect. Not because of Victor Blackwood. But because Damien himself had earned it. Ding! Mission progress updated. Blackwood executive recognition, 80%. Reward incoming. Then suddenly, the massive meeting room doors opened. A female assistant entered nervously. Chairman Blackwood. Victor looked toward her. What is it? She swallowed slightly before speaking. There's someone here to see you. Who? Her expression became tense. Alexander Kane. Silence instantly filled the room. Even Damien felt the atmosphere change completely. Because standing outside those doors was the man powerful enough to shake the entire luxury business world of Eldoria. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 19, The Men Called Kane. Meet Patel audio book. The meeting room doors slowly opened. Every executive inside Blackwood Group unconsciously straightened their posture. Then, a tall man wearing a perfectly tailored dark suit calmly walked into the room. Alexander Kane. The chairman of Vortex Global Holdings. His sharp gray eyes immediately carried overwhelming pressure across the entire room without saying a single word. Behind him stood two assistants and several bodyguards dressed in black. Damien quietly observed him. Alexander Kane looked younger than expected, perhaps in his early 40s, but the calm confidence around him felt dangerous. This was not a man who lost often. Victor Blackwood remained seated calmly. "Unexpected visit," Victor said coldly. Alexander smiled faintly. Business opportunities should never wait too long. The tension between the two billionaires instantly filled the room. Even the executives stayed silent. Because everyone knew. Blackwood Group and Vortex Global had competed against each other for years. Alexander's eyes slowly moved across the room. Then suddenly, they stopped on Damien. For a brief second, the atmosphere became strangely quiet. Damien felt it immediately. Alexander Kane was studying him carefully. "Interesting," Alexander said calmly. "A student attending Blackwood executive meetings." Several executives looked uncomfortable. Victor replied before anyone else could speak. "He's here because he earned the right." Alexander smiled slightly after hearing that. But Damien noticed something dangerous hidden behind that smile. This man treated everything like a game. Then Alexander slowly walked toward the coastline map spread across the table. "The southern coast," he said casually. "Beautiful investment area." Several executives instantly changed expressions. He knew. Alexander already understood Blackwood Group's next move. Victor's voice became colder. "You seem very informed." Alexander chuckled softly. "In business, information decides everything." Ding. Warning. High-level opponent detected. Alexander Kane intelligence rating, extremely dangerous. Damien's eyes narrowed slightly. Even the system itself was warning him. Alexander suddenly looked toward Damien again. "You're Damien Cole, correct?" The room became silent. Damien calmly met his gaze. "Yes." Alexander's smile widened faintly. "I heard tonight's interesting discoveries came from you." For some reason. The compliment felt more threatening than praise. Then Alexander reached into his suit pocket and placed a black card onto the table before Damien. "Vortex Global Holdings." "I like talented people," Alexander said calmly. "Especially ambitious young ones." His sharp eyes locked onto Damien's. "If you ever grow tired of standing behind Victor Blackwood." He smiled faintly. "My doors are always open." Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 20, Choosing a Side. Meet Patel audio book. The black Vortex business card rested silently on the table before Damien Cole. Every executive inside the meeting room watched him carefully. Because everyone understood what Alexander Kane was doing. He was openly recruiting Damien in front of Victor Blackwood. The atmosphere became tense. But Alexander remained calm as always. "A smart person should stand beside the winning side," he said smoothly. His sharp gray eyes stayed fixed on Damien. Several executives immediately frowned. Meanwhile, Damien remained silent for a moment while the blue system screen appeared before him. Special choice mission activated. Choose current alliance. Decision will affect future storyline. Even the system recognized this moment as important. Then slowly, Damien picked up the black business card. Several executives instantly changed expressions. Victor Blackwood narrowed his eyes slightly. Across the room, Alexander Kane smiled faintly. But the next second, Damien calmly placed the card back onto the table. "I appreciate the offer," Damien said politely. Silence filled the room again. Then Damien looked directly into Alexander's eyes. "But I don't plan on standing behind anyone forever." The atmosphere instantly changed. Several executives looked shocked after hearing such a bold answer. Even Alexander Kane became quiet for a second. Then suddenly, he laughed softly. "Interesting," he admitted calmly. Victor Blackwood quietly leaned back in his chair while hiding a faint smile. Damien's answer avoided direct rejection while still protecting his own pride. Alexander adjusted his dark suit calmly before turning toward the exit, but before leaving, he paused slightly. "The coastline war has officially begun," he said coldly. Victor answered immediately. "Then we'll see who controls Eldoria first." Alexander smirked faintly before leaving the room with his assistants. The massive doors slowly closed behind him. Ding. Mission completed. Skill unlocked, executive presence. For the first time since receiving the system, Damien truly felt himself entering the world of billionaires. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 21, Returning to University. Meet Patel audio book. The next morning, Novaris Elite University buzzed with rumors. Students gathered in small groups across the campus while whispering excitedly about the luxury auction held at Orex Grand Hotel. Did you hear Logan Pierce got embarrassed again? Someone challenged him during the auction. I heard Victor Blackwood personally invited that guy upstairs. Most people still didn't know Damien Cole was the center of those rumors. At that moment, Damien calmly walked through the university entrance wearing a black fitted coat and the Aurelius Royal watch on his wrist. Several students immediately turned toward him. Something about him felt completely different now. His posture carried confidence. His expression looked calm. Even the way he walked attracted attention naturally. Ding. Executive presence skill activated. Charisma increased. Damien quietly understood the system was already changing him. As he entered the main building, whispers quickly spread around him. That's Damien. No way, he looks completely different. For years, Damien had always been invisible at university. But today, people noticed him instantly. Then suddenly, a familiar voice called out behind him. Damien. He turned around slowly. Victoria Hale stood near the hallway window holding several books against her chest. Morning sunlight reflected softly across her golden hair while nearby students secretly stared at her beauty. Victoria smiled faintly after seeing him. You caused quite a storm last night. Damien chuckled quietly. I think Alexander Kane caused the bigger storm. Victoria walked closer toward him. For a brief second, even the noisy hallway felt strangely quiet. Then she noticed the luxury watch on his wrist again. You really fit that world surprisingly well, she admitted softly. Damien looked directly into her eyes. Maybe I'm just starting to discover it. Victoria smiled slightly after hearing that. But before either of them could continue, a cold voice suddenly interrupted the atmosphere. Well. Logan Pierce slowly approached from the opposite hallway with several rich students behind him. His eyes immediately locked onto Damien, especially the watch on his wrist. This time, the hatred in Logan's expression was impossible to hide. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 22, Public Challenge. Meet Patel audio book. The hallway atmosphere instantly became tense after Logan Pierce appeared. Several wealthy students stood behind him while secretly staring at Damien Cole with jealousy and curiosity. Especially after the rumors from Orex Grand Hotel spread across the university. Logan slowly walked closer. His sharp eyes immediately focused on the Aurelius Royal watch resting on Damien's wrist. So the rumors were true, Logan said coldly. Damien remained calm. What rumors? Logan smirked slightly. That a poor cafe worker somehow entered elite auctions and started pretending to be important. Several students nearby laughed quietly. But Damien simply looked at him without reacting. That calm expression irritated Logan even more. For years, Damien always lowered his head whenever mocked. But now, he looked completely different. Victoria Hale quietly frowned beside Damien. Logan, she said coldly, you're becoming annoying. The surrounding students instantly became silent. Because everyone could hear the clear irritation in Victoria's voice. Logan's expression darkened slightly, especially after noticing how naturally Victoria stood beside Damien. Then suddenly, Logan laughed again. Fine, he said calmly. Since Damien wants to enter high society so badly, let's make things interesting. His eyes narrowed sharply. Next week, Novaris Elite University is hosting the annual Royal Investment Competition. Several students instantly reacted. That competition? The one sponsored by billionaire companies. Even Damien quietly listened. Logan smirked proudly. The winning team receives investment opportunities from major corporations across Eldoria. Then he looked directly at Damien. You seem confident lately. Logan's voice became colder. So why don't you participate publicly? The hallway became quiet again. Because everyone knew something important. Logan Pierce had won the competition 2 years in a row. And most likely, he planned to crush Damien publicly there. Ding! The blue holographic system screen suddenly appeared before Damien. New competitive mission activated. Defeat Logan Pierce in Royal Investment Competition. Reward, elite business reputation. Damien's eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting. Logan crossed his arms confidently. What happened? He mocked. Scared. Several rich students laughed behind him. But then, Damien suddenly smiled faintly. I'll join, he answered calmly. The entire hallway instantly became silent. Even Logan looked slightly surprised by how quickly Damien accepted. But Damien wasn't finished yet. And when I win, he added calmly, try not to disappear from university out of embarrassment. Several students immediately gasped. Victoria quietly covered her smile. Meanwhile, the hatred in Logan Pierce's eyes became even deeper. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 23, Team Selection. Meet Patel audio book. News about Damien Cole joining the Royal Investment Competition spread across Novaris Elite University within hours. Almost every student discussed it. The poor guy challenged Logan Pierce. He's going to get destroyed. I heard billionaire companies personally watch the competition. Inside the university business hall, registration for the competition had officially begun. Dozens of elite students gathered around the large digital board while professors and sponsors observed carefully from the upper floor. Damien calmly entered the hall alone. The moment students noticed him, whispers immediately spread again. Especially after seeing Victoria Hale walk in beside him. Several male students looked jealous instantly. Victoria ignored them completely. You really surprised everyone yesterday, she said softly. Damien smiled faintly. I think Logan was more surprised. Victoria quietly laughed. But before they could continue, a loud voice suddenly interrupted them. Registration closes in 20 minutes. One professor stood near the stage while reviewing participant forms. Teams require 3 members minimum. Damien's expression changed slightly. Teams? He thought the competition was individual. Ding. Competition rules updated. Host must build investment team. Warning, team quality will affect final results. Damien frowned slightly. This complicated things. Most elite students already formed groups weeks ago. And because Logan Pierce controlled the university's wealthy social circles, almost nobody wanted to stand beside Damien publicly. Several students immediately avoided eye contact after Damien looked around. Clearly, they feared offending Logan. Logan himself stood near the front registration area wearing an expensive gray suit while surrounded by rich students. His confident smirk returned after noticing Damien standing alone. What happened? Logan mocked loudly. No one wants to join the poor genius. Several students laughed quietly. The atmosphere became uncomfortable instantly. But Damien remained calm. Then suddenly, I'll join. The soft female voice immediately silenced the entire hall. Everyone turned around in shock. Victoria Hale stepped forward calmly beside Damien. Her beautiful eyes remained completely serious. I'll be part of Damien's team. The entire business hall exploded into whispers. Even Logan's confident expression cracked slightly. Because everyone knew one thing. Victoria Hale had rejected countless elite students before. Yet now, she publicly chose Damien Cole. Ding. Special relationship progress increased. Victoria Hale trust level rising. Damien looked toward Victoria quietly. You sure about this? He asked softly. Victoria smiled faintly. I don't like losing either. For the first time, Damien truly felt the competition becoming interesting. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 24, The Third Member. Meet Patel audio book. The business hall remained filled with whispers after Victoria Hale publicly joined Damien's team. Many students looked shocked. Others looked jealous. Especially Logan Pierce. His expression darkened the moment Victoria chose Damien without hesitation. But Damien himself remained calm. Because another problem still existed. The competition required at least 3 members. Victoria quietly crossed her arms. We still need one more person. Damien nodded slightly. Most students immediately avoided looking at them. Nobody wanted to risk offending Logan Pierce by joining Damien's team. After all, Logan came from one of the wealthiest families in Novara City. Making him an enemy could ruin opportunities for many students. Logan clearly noticed this too. A confident smirk slowly returned to his face. Looks like nobody wants to sync with you, he mocked loudly. Several rich students behind him laughed quietly. Victoria frowned slightly, clearly irritated. But Damien suddenly noticed someone standing alone near the back of the hall. A tall young man wearing glasses quietly reviewed financial reports on a tablet without caring about the surrounding drama. Unlike the others, he looked focused only on the competition itself. Ding! Potential ally detected. Name, Ethan Vale. Skill, Advanced Market Analysis. Trust level, Neutral. Damien's eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting. Without hesitation, Damien walked toward him. Several students looked confused immediately. Ethan Vale finally looked up from his tablet as Damien stopped before him. You're Ethan, right? Ethan adjusted his glasses calmly. Yes, Damien spoke directly. Join my team. The nearby students instantly began whispering again. Ethan quietly observed Damien for several seconds before answering. You know, joining you means making enemies with Logan Pierce. Damien smiled faintly. You afraid? Ethan stared at him silently. Then unexpectedly, he laughed softly. No, Ethan replied calmly. I just wanted to see if you'd ask personally. Victoria looked slightly surprised. Even Logan's expression changed. Because Ethan Vale wasn't ordinary. He ranked among the top business students in the university and was famous for his analytical skills. Many elite teams tried recruiting him earlier. Yet he rejected all of them. And now, he accepted Damien's invitation immediately. Ding! Team formation completed. Team name registered, Apex Vision. Competition win probability updated. Previous chance, 18%. Current chance, 61%. Damien quietly smiled after seeing the system notification. Meanwhile, across the hall, Logan Pierce's expression became colder than ever. Because for the first time, Damien's team actually looked dangerous. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 25, Apex Vision. Meet Patel audio book. The atmosphere inside the university business hall changed completely after Ethan Vale officially joined Damien's team. Students immediately began whispering again. That team is actually strong now. Victoria Hale and Ethan Vale together. Damien somehow gathered monsters around him. Across the hall, Logan Pierce watched silently with cold eyes. He clearly didn't expect Ethan to reject elite teams for Damien. Meanwhile, Ethan calmly adjusted his glasses while reviewing the digital competition rules on his tablet. The first round starts tomorrow morning, he explained quietly. Each team receives virtual investment funds and must maximize profit within limited time. Victoria crossed her arms slightly. So basically, strategy, prediction, and risk management. Ethan nodded. Most teams lose because they chase fast profit without long-term planning. Damien listened carefully. But deep inside, the system had already begun activating. Ding! Royal investment competition started. Host receives temporary skill boost. Luxury market insight efficiency increased. A faint smile appeared on Damien's face. This competition suited him perfectly. Then suddenly, Logan Pierce walked toward them again with his team behind him. Unlike before, his expression looked calmer, which somehow felt more dangerous. He stopped directly before Damien. You built an interesting team, Logan admitted coldly. Ethan looked up from his tablet briefly. Victoria remained expressionless. But Logan's eyes stayed fixed on Damien. Unfortunately, he continued calmly, the competition isn't about confidence. Then he leaned slightly closer. It's about crushing weaker opponents. The tension instantly returned. Several nearby students quietly watched the confrontation. Damien calmly met Logan's gaze. You talk a lot for someone who keeps worrying about me. A few students secretly laughed. Logan's expression darkened slightly. But instead of exploding in anger, he suddenly smiled. Good, Logan replied softly. Keep that confidence. His eyes sharpened dangerously. Because tomorrow, I'll destroy it publicly. After saying that, Logan turned around and walked away with his team. The atmosphere remained heavy for several seconds. Then Ethan quietly spoke. He's planning something. Victoria nodded slowly. Definitely. But Damien remained calm. Because the blue holographic system screen appeared once again. Special event triggered. Warning, competition manipulation detected. Hidden sabotage probability, high. Damien's eyes narrowed instantly. So Logan Pierce planned to cheat. Interesting. Very interesting. A slow smile appeared on Damien's face while students continued whispering around them. If Logan wanted war, then Damien would make sure the entire university watched him lose. Chapter 26. The next morning, Novaris Elite University's grand business arena was completely packed. Hundreds of students filled the massive hall while giant digital screens displayed team rankings and investment charts across the walls. The annual Royal Investment Competition had officially begun. At the center stage sat several important guests from major corporations across Eldoria, including Victor Blackwood himself. The moment he appeared, whispers spread instantly through the audience. Blackwood Group personally came. This year's competition is serious. Meanwhile, Damien quietly entered the arena alongside Victoria and Ethan. Their team name, Apex Vision, appeared brightly on the main screen. The attention around them was enormous. Especially after recent rumors connected Damien with both Victor Blackwood and Alexander Kane. Logan Pierce already sat confidently at the front section with his own elite team. The moment their eyes met, the atmosphere became tense again. Then suddenly, a professor stepped onto the stage. Welcome, he announced loudly, to the Royal Investment Competition. The crowd applauded immediately. For the first round, the professor continued, each team will receive 10 million virtual VELs. Large digital screens instantly activated around the hall. You must invest across multiple industries within 6 hours. Highest total profit wins. The competition officially started. Ding. Competition mission activated. Current objective, dominate first round. Special reward available. Damien immediately sat before his digital investment terminal while Ethan began analyzing market charts rapidly. Victoria reviewed luxury company reports beside them. The teamwork felt surprisingly natural. Then suddenly, Ethan frowned slightly. Something's wrong. Damien looked toward him immediately. What happened? Ethan pointed toward one investment sector on the screen. Luxury shipping stocks are dropping too fast. Victoria narrowed her eyes. That doesn't make sense. Ding. Sabotage detected. False market information released. Damien's eyes sharpened instantly. Logan Pierce had already started cheating. Across the arena, Logan calmly looked toward Damien while hiding a faint smirk. He clearly expected Apex Vision to panic, but Damien suddenly smiled instead. Because the system had already revealed the truth. Ding. Luxury market insight activated. Real market trend found. Recommended investment, Solstice Energy Corporation. Damien's eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting. Without hesitation, he immediately transferred almost half their funds into Solstice Energy shares. Victoria looked shocked. That's risky. Even Ethan frowned slightly. But Damien remained calm. Trust me. Across the arena, Logan Pierce quietly laughed after seeing Damien's decision. Because according to public reports, Solstice Energy was about to collapse. At least, that's what everyone believed. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 27, The Sudden Reversal. Meet Patel audio book. The massive business arena buzzed with excitement as investment rankings updated rapidly across the giant digital screens. Teams constantly moved funds between companies while professors and corporate guests observed carefully from the upper platform. Meanwhile, Apex Vision had become the center of attention. Because Damien Cole invested nearly half their funds into Solstice Energy Corporation, a company everyone believed was collapsing. Several students immediately began whispering, "Did Damien lose his mind? That stock is crashing." Even beginners wouldn't make that mistake. Across the arena, Logan Pierce leaned back comfortably in his chair while laughing quietly with his teammates. "This is easier than expected," one of them mocked. Logan smirked confidently. False market reports had already spread everywhere this morning. Most investors believed Solstice Energy faced bankruptcy. Exactly as planned. Meanwhile at Apex Vision's table, Ethan stared nervously at the dropping stock chart. "We're already losing money," he warned quietly. Victoria also frowned slightly. "Damien, are you absolutely sure?" The stock continued falling. 9%. 12%. 15%. Students around them began openly laughing now. Even several professors looked disappointed. But Damien remained perfectly calm. Because the system screen still floated before his eyes. Ding. Market manipulation confirmed. Hidden government contract announcement incoming. Countdown, 3 minutes. Damien's eyes narrowed slightly. So this was the real opportunity. He calmly leaned back in his chair. "Wait," he said quietly. Across the arena, Logan noticed Damien's calm expression and frowned slightly. Something felt wrong. Then suddenly, the giant financial news screen at the center of the arena flashed red. Breaking news. Every student immediately looked up. The announcer's voice echoed across the hall. "Emergency update, Solstice Energy Corporation has officially secured the largest government clean energy contract in Eldoria history." Silence. Complete silence. Then the stock market charts exploded upward instantly. Plus 20%. Plus 45%. Plus 73%. The entire arena erupted into chaos. "What? That's impossible. How did they know?" Ethan shot up from his chair in shock. Victoria stared at Damien with disbelief in her beautiful eyes. Meanwhile across the arena, Logan Pierce's confident expression completely shattered. Because Apex Vision's ranking suddenly jumped from near the bottom, straight to first place. Ding! Massive profit achieved. Team wealth increased by 340%. Round 1 victory probability, extremely high. Damien quietly smiled while the entire arena stared toward him in disbelief. And for the first time, people no longer looked at Damien Cole as a lucky poor student. They looked at him like a real monster of the business world. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 28, The Attention of Billionaires. Meet Patel audio book. The business arena remained noisy even after the first round officially ended. Students continued staring at the giant ranking screens in disbelief. Apex Vision, rank number 1. Nobody expected Damien Cole's team to dominate the competition so completely. Especially after the risky Solstice Energy investment. Across the arena, Logan Pierce sat silently with dark eyes fixed on the rankings. One of his teammates spoke nervously. "How did Damien predict the government contract?" Logan clenched his fists tightly. The false market reports should have destroyed Apex Vision. Instead, Damien used them to rise straight to first place. Meanwhile, on the upper corporate platform, several billionaire guests quietly discussed Damien among themselves. "That young man is interesting. His instincts are dangerous. He doesn't think like a normal student." Victor Blackwood calmly watched Damien from above while hiding a faint smile. But another person also observed him carefully. Alexander Kane. Unlike everyone else, Alexander didn't look surprised. He looked interested, very interested. Ding. Elite attention increased. Current reputation, rising business genius. Damien quietly read the system notification while remaining calm outwardly. Beside him, Ethan still looked shocked. That investment timing was insane, he admitted honestly. Victoria also stared at Damien carefully. "You already knew something big was coming," she said softly. Damien only smiled faintly. Before anyone could continue talking, the competition host suddenly stepped onto the stage. The top 5 teams will officially advance into tomorrow's elite investment round. Excitement instantly spread through the arena again. Then the host smiled slightly. And for the elite round, Billionaire sponsors may personally support selected teams. The atmosphere exploded immediately. Direct sponsorship from billionaire companies could completely change someone's future. At that moment, a Blackwood Group assistant suddenly approached Damien respectfully. "Mr. Cole, Chairman Victor Blackwood wishes to meet your team privately." Several nearby students gasped instantly. But before Damien could answer, another assistant arrived beside them wearing the silver emblem of Vortex Global Holdings. "Mr. Alexander Kane," he said calmly, "also wishes to speak with Apex Vision. Supreme Billionaire System." Chapter 29, Elite Round begins. Meet Patel audio book. The next morning, the atmosphere inside Novaris Elite University felt completely different. Luxury vehicles filled the entrance roads while reporters and corporate representatives gathered outside the massive business arena. Because today, the elite investment round officially began. Only 5 teams remained. And Apex Vision stood at the very top. As Damien entered the arena alongside Victoria and Ethan, countless eyes immediately turned toward them. Students whispered everywhere. "That's Damien Cole, the guy who defeated Logan Pierce. I heard billionaire companies are fighting to recruit him." Damien calmly ignored the attention. But Logan Pierce, standing across the arena with dark eyes, clearly couldn't do the same. His hatred had only grown stronger overnight. Meanwhile, on the upper platform, powerful guests slowly arrived one after another. Victor Blackwood, Alexander Kane, and several other elite investors from across Eldoria. The pressure inside the arena became enormous. Then suddenly, ding! Elite competition mission activated. Current objective, dominate all remaining teams. Warning, opponents will use extreme methods. Damien's eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting. At that moment, the competition host stepped onto the center stage. "Welcome," he announced loudly, "to the Royal Investment Competition Elite Round." The massive screens around the arena activated instantly. "This round," the host continued, "will simulate real billionaire-level corporate warfare." The crowd erupted into excitement. Each team will compete using acquisitions, market influence, negotiations, and hostile takeovers. Even Ethan looked serious now. "This isn't student level anymore," he muttered quietly. Victoria nodded slightly. "They're testing future billionaires." Then suddenly, the giant screens displayed the first challenge. Target Corporation, Nexera Luxury Group. Objective, gain corporate control. The arena instantly exploded into discussion. Because Nexera Luxury Group was massive. Controlling it would require intelligence, strategy, and manipulation. Then Damien noticed something else. Across the upper platform, Alexander Kane was smiling while watching him, as if waiting for something interesting to happen. Ding! Hidden threat detected. Warning, enemy preparing special move. Damien slowly smiled after reading the system message. Good. Because he was getting tired of easy victories. Supreme Billionaire System. Chapter 30, Corporate Warfare. Meet Patel audio book. The elite business arena became completely silent after the first challenge appeared on the giant screens. Target Corporation, Nexera Luxury Group. Objective, gain corporate control. Every remaining team immediately understood the difficulty. This was no longer simple investing. This was corporate warfare. Teams quickly rushed toward their terminals while analyzing Nexera Luxury Group's market structure, shareholders, and financial weaknesses. Meanwhile, Damien remained calm. Ding! Luxury Market Insight activated. Scanning Nexera Luxury Group. Blue holographic data instantly filled Damien's vision. Then, weakness detected. Internal shareholder conflict found. Damien's eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting. Beside him, Ethan rapidly reviewed financial reports. Nexera's public shares are stable, he explained seriously. A normal takeover would be impossible. Victoria also frowned slightly. The CEO still controls most voting power. But Damien quietly smiled. Then we don't attack the company directly. Both Ethan and Victoria looked toward him instantly. Damien pointed toward the shareholder chart. We attack the people around the CEO. Ethan's eyes widened slightly after understanding. A proxy war. Victoria slowly smiled. That's insane. Across the arena, Logan Pierce confidently led his team into aggressive stock acquisitions. His strategy attracted attention from several billionaire investors watching above. But Damien completely ignored him. Because he already saw the real weakness. Ding. Special opportunity found. Shareholder Marcus Vale secretly wants to sell assets. Negotiation success probability, 91%. Damien immediately stood up. I'm handling negotiations personally. Ethan looked surprised. You can actually negotiate at billionaire level. Damien calmly adjusted his black suit. We're about to find out. Meanwhile, from the upper platform, Alexander Kane quietly watched Damien leave the arena discussion area. A faint smile slowly appeared on his face. He found the weakness already, Alexander muttered softly. Victor Blackwood remained silent beside him. But deep inside, even he was becoming increasingly impressed by Damien's instincts. Down below, Logan Pierce noticed Damien walking away and smirked coldly. He's panicking already, Logan mocked. But moments later, the giant arena screen suddenly updated. Apex Vision has begun private acquisition negotiations. The entire arena instantly exploded into whispers. Because private negotiations meant only one thing. Damien Cole had already found a shortcut toward controlling Nexera Luxury Group.